I'm having issues with my pump. It's a 110 volt version that just transfers water from this tank to several locations in the shop. There it goes. So here's the situation where the pump has worked. It now needs to come back on because the line is open. Here's how I can get it to work again. It's turned on and off a lot since I've installed it. It's probably a year old. But my washing machine is one of those combos. You put dirty clothes in and they come out dry. At the end of its cycle, it turns into a dryer, which I can show you this in just a moment. But it sprays water every 5 seconds for 3 hours. It goes burp, burp, and I think that's really put the cycles on that switch in that year's time, way beyond standard use. Let me take you on a tour of the whole rainwater system in case you might find that interesting and put all this into perspective. It's going to start outside. This is the simplest version of a water collection system I put on this building. And let me explain about this building. It is a rental commercial building that has not been used for a business in probably 25 years until recently. The water meter's been removed at the street. It's a big ordeal to get all that going. So first thing I did was just catch some rainwater to hose off things, have water to test and run engines and things like that. So this is a simple collection system off the corner of this roof. Easy spot. I have a flow jet pump here with just a PVC pickup tube. It doesn't quite touch the bottom of the tank. There's maybe an inch or so of space. So if any sediment and leaves get in there, this is my outdoor wash water. Big deal. Hose connection there and electric switch here to turn it on. Solar panel charges this with a 12 volt battery there just for this pump. This is the first and simplest 2-inch PVC pipe, a 45 and a T. Then there's a length of tube down here with a cap, clean out cap. That allows water to fill that tube first if it's got runoff and trash in it. There's a hole drilled in there so it slowly drains that water out. It's called a first flush system. If you want to Google that, there's complicated versions. This is the simplest. This older section of roof that I'm standing on now was the first addition to this roof. This is the second addition. So they have a crazy gutter running between these two buildings that are perpendicular. It's quite a gap. So this whole surface runs into this trough. At the end of this trough, I have that collector. So here we are on the back, and that channel runs into this larger 4-inch PVC pipe. Leaves hit that and then fall off. They don't collect there. It's a custom-made fitting out of just some real thin. I heated it up with a torch and stepped on it to make that shape. Then cut out the inside and put a screen in there. Comes straight down for about 5 feet and has a clean out here on the bottom. I occasionally come and empty this because it does catch a lot of leaf litter and that first bit of water that comes through the gutter. So it kind of screens out some of that. I catch good clean water in 1 and 2 rain cycles, you know, with that big surface up there to fill this tank. So after the water comes down and fills this tube, it makes it to that 90 or T and spills over into the inlet of this tank. If I come out here and clean the system and let a big rain come, I can just disconnect it. That brush is for scrubbing the inside whenever I do an inspection or about every 6 months, I'll open this valve, flush out the bottom of the tank. As I brush, any sediment will come out with that flowing water. All I do is transfer water from here indoors and keep that tank full. It's a very common submersible pump. So you've seen the outside, now I'm showing you the inside of that trough. It's a unique setup here. It's almost ideal for rainwater because that channel runs the full length of this building all the way down to this back corner. And while I'm walking here, notice this white line that is on the outside of that channel. That's the very same line that runs down to my tank and my manifold to go to the toilet in the front of the building. So now you know where my water comes from. How it gets from the roof to that storage tank, through the wall, and into my second storage tank. To keep from freezing, I keep as much hose as I can inside. In the winter, I played with the idea of wrapping ice melt tape around that section of the hose and plugging it in here. The pump's plugged in right here. But it was unnecessary. I didn't run out of water in the 3 or 4 days that we had a whole full freeze, but that's something you could do. Right now, maybe you can make it out on the camera. I've got graduated marks. This is a 0, 275 gallons. 7 minutes, 14, 21, 29. I did that by timing it from empty and just wrote as it filled. So now I have a reference for, say, right now, I know I need less than 7 minutes of water. I'd say that, let's just do 5 to not overflow it. The microwave timer, 5 minutes, start, and we're filling from outside. Here are the everyday knee highs that I use for a filter, and it's real awkward buying these as a single man. If you're wondering about filtration, it's cheaper to use other people's filters, man. I keep these water tubs. You can buy them for $1, and if I'm at the shop down the road, I use the hose to fill these up for brushing my teeth, cooking with, you know, things like that, drinking water. That's generally the whole system. Isolating all the stuff that's working today, here's my problem. The pressure switch is faulty. One device I have in this setup is that washing machine. Where the washer is estimating 1 hour and 41 minutes for the wash and dry cycle. So after a wash cycle, it turns into a dryer. That system sprays water constantly for 3 hours, just burp, burp, just a low pressure spray. And it has something to do with how the computer knows the humidity inside the drum. Anyway, way too complicated for someone who's catching rain off the roof. This might not be the best application for a pump like this. This is 110 volt, which I can do because I'm on a electrical grid. In a power outage, I just use the pump in my camper. That's a good thing to have for a quick office in a building like this. Built kitchen, you know, it's got lighting and a shower, to have a shower at work. If you were to buy a bathroom, you would spend more than a used camper. Help me help you and not complain about this camera setup, because I realize it's not ideal at this point, but I really don't want to cut this motor or pump out. I should have put unions in here, and I knew that when I installed it. I didn't think I'd be into this pump so soon. I think I got this one from Amazon. But this particular pump has an adjustment for pressure. It's a 2mm T-handle. And let's make sure, before we disassemble this thing, Fonzarelli trick to get this pump to run. Hey, it might just need to be touched. Sometimes things get like that. I haven't taken this apart yet to know exactly how it works. Well, let's run the pump. Now it won't mess up, watch. Okay, now it's in failed state and I could tap this to get it running, but I think I'm gonna twist this a little first. That's a full turn. Now it's running, I'm gonna go back a full turn. Okay. Look at that. On, off, on, off. Well. Well, that was weird. And I'm not totally convinced. So I'm gonna put it to the test with the worst machine for this setup. I'm gonna wash some clothes. Oh, dang it. That didn't work for long. About an hour of switching on and off, and it is returned to failed state. Looks like I've only got one union. Alright, I got that thing wrestled out of there. Let's see how that mechanism works too, I'm curious. Hope this isn't just a potted micro switch or something. It pushes on this switch, you can hear it. It doesn't always click. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Just the other day, I was taking apart a treadmill. Maybe start saving these when you come across them.
Save me. I know that one's bad and that one's bad. Alright, so take your black housing. Notice one has a slot of the four corners. This white plastic piece that's next has a tooth on it, only in one space that goes as such. In that groove, spring washer goes in, cup goes upside down. Take the top half and just see where the button is for the micro switch. That touches on this arm, so there's only one way for that to Let's go, boys!
I mean, how long it took me to make this up in my garage without going to the hardware store. I'll save you the gory details. We're at 0 PSI and the pump is back together. I'm going to increase the pressure. Okay, we're at 60 PSI now. It's supposed to be 55. So I'm gonna back it off some. We're gonna have to let it run. And we're looking at 55. So we're done.